a member of the Fairmont Athletic Hall of Fame Committee, and I am getting ready to talk to my old friend Sara VonderBrink, Kettering Fairmont class of 2009. Sara earned a total of 9 letters, including 4 each in soccer and in track and field, and 1 in swimming. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. On the soccer field, she was dominant as a midfielder and forward. She earned all GWAC honors 3 times, including first team selections her junior and senior seasons. And she was named first team All-Miami Valley and second team All-Ohio as a senior. That year, she was team captain and led the Firebirds with 12 goals and 4 assists. She finished with 29 goals and 21 assists for her career. In track and field, she competed primarily in the high jump and hurdles. In the GWAC meet her freshman year, she placed 4th in the high jump, then was the district champion and advanced to the regionals. Her sophomore season, she finished 3rd in the GWAC in the high jump. She was district runner-up, regional runner-up, and placed 10th at the state meet. As a junior, she won the GWAC and qualified for both the indoor and outdoor state meets in the high jump, and won a district title in the 300-meter hurdles. As a senior captain, she won the high jump, 100-meter hurdles, and 300-meter hurdles at the Fairmont Invitational, then went on to place multiple times at the conference, district, and regional levels, qualifying for the state meet in 3 events. In the high jump, she placed 3rd at the indoor state meet and 6th at the outdoor state meet. She capped off her high school career by winning the prestigious Joanne Ray Award, which goes to a female multi-sport athlete at Fairmont who leaves a lasting mark on each program. And Sara certainly qualified in that category. Despite receiving track scholarship offers from major college programs, including Ohio State, Sara followed her passion for soccer, continuing her career at Bowling Green State University, go Falcons. At BG, she led the team in game-winning goals, assists, and scoring multiple times, and earned preseason first-team All-MAC recognition, along with academic All-MAC honors as a senior. She graduated with her doctorate degree in audiology in 2017 and now works as an audiologist at an ear, nose, and throat clinic in Dayton. She and her husband have 2 daughters and live outside Mason. That's a heck of a resume. I told you it was going to take up our whole 20 minutes. Sara, welcome.
Thank you.
In today's era of specialization, most kids focus on their best or favorite sport year-round. Mm-hmm. A few focus on 2 sports, but it's very unusual to find 3 sports athletes anymore. Used to be that the kids went right from one season to the next season to the next season, but it doesn't happen very often anymore. What was your secret to managing 3 sports and still keeping your grades up?
Probably supportive parents, really supportive parents, and
which you certainly have.
I certainly have, and then probably just some grit. You know, not grit like white knuckling through things, but just I wanted to do it. I was really motivated to play as many sports as I could, simply for the fact that I loved it. I know that there were days, because I did club soccer, I did indoor track, so I remember long days of getting out of bed at like 5:45 to go to diving practice at 6 a.m., going to school, going to indoor track practice, and then heading to like a soccer practice out in Xenia or something. But it never felt like work. Again, like, I was lucky enough to have supportive parents that were like, if this is what you need to get that done, then we're going to support you in doing it. If you need a car, you've got a car to go. We've got to make sure you've got gas in it. So I just had the opportunity to have great parents that supported me and was like, if you want to do these things, do them. And then after that, it was just grit, because I wanted to do it.
I've known your parents a long time,
Yeah.
especially your dad. I grew up with your father.
Yeah.
We grew up in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
And you do have great parents,
Yeah.
and that certainly helps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thinking back in the day was that coaches wanted you to play other sports.
Mm-hmm.
Because it kind of kept your competitive edge from one season to the next.
Mm-hmm.
Like the baseball coach wanted you to play a fall sport and a winter sport,
Mm-hmm.
and so on. But, as time has gone on, it seems like a lot of coaches put pressure on you to specialize on their sport. Did you ever
Yeah.
get any of that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was thinking back, and I remember my mom really pumping me up to have those difficult conversations, because so many times, especially in the spring, with track meets and soccer tournaments, you're traveling to, North Carolina one weekend, Indiana the next, and you've got track meets on the weekends. And I really had to go up to like Coach Jones or Pat Miller and say, hey, I can't do this because I have soccer. And, my parents just never, they made me choose. They provided guidance, but I'm thankful for having had those difficult conversations. It definitely made me better at time management, and I think facing those types of situations helped me prioritize things that are important and look at the big picture of like, this is how we're going to get this done. It was really important to be able to juggle all of that, I think.
That's a great answer. Sarah, who were some of your biggest influences on you during your athletic career at Fairmont?
Again, definitely my parents and my coaches. It was not, uncommon, I think, at times that they believed in me more than I would believe in myself sometimes. My coaches really pushed me. I think, Coach Coons, like we said, with soccer, I think he would go to bat for me at times because he saw how passionate I was. Coach Jones would drive me to indoor track meets even at times. So I think their commitment to my growth was inspiration enough.
Sarah, any highlights stand out from your playing days in high school? Any games or any particular seasons or any teams you played on?
Relative to soccer, one game that always stands out is my senior year when we played Oakwood, actually. So I remember they put 3 people on me. So I was used to that season being man-marked.
The ultimate respect.
I know, I was very flattered. And I just remember Coons and I looked at each other and we're like, are they serious? They're putting 3 people on me? And so, it was just insane. But the cherry on top of it all was I still scored the winning goal.
Wow.
And that feeling was amazing.
That's unbelievable.
It was great. It was great.
Unbelievable.
Funny enough, my mom and I would always say it seemed like I played my best game of the season against Oakwood every year. I don't know, something about those Lumberjacks.
Any other highlights that you can think of? Or?
With track, going to state in 2 events my senior year to the outdoor state meet was a feeling almost like no other. I had only hurdled for maybe 2 seasons, and Coach Jones, I don't even know what it was, and it may even had been Pat McDermott that was like, you should do this. And this is the funniest thing. I remember at practice one day, I was like, I really need Coach Jones to help me with hurdles, but I know he's busy. And Pat McDermott goes, "I'll tell you what, I will try to help you, and he's not going to be able to stand it. He's not going to be able to watch me try to coach you in hurdles, and he's going to come over and help you." And that's exactly what happened. And so, you know, I think
Both of those guys are in the Hall of Fame, by the way.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
They're outstanding. And so, you know, making it to state in the 100 hurdles, I mean, that was a crazy feeling. I remember looking up into the stands and everybody going, fourth, because you had to be in the top 4 to go. And I was just like, no way. Wow. So that was an incredible feeling.
That's unbelievable. Okay, let's talk about state. You qualified for state in the high jump as a sophomore. Describe the experience of competing in the state meet for the first time.
It was intimidating. And, you know, I will say we've talked a lot about how the specialization in sports. And one thing that truly amazed me about the athletes that went to state were that was not really their primary sport. They were basketball players, volleyball players. They did all these other sports, and they also just did track. And I remember thinking, wow, like these are not just amazing high jumpers, but these are amazing athletes. I remember a girl from North Royalton, I think in Cleveland, and she went and played Division I somewhere on a basketball scholarship and was like second at state that year. And as a sophomore going to state, I mean, I really admired them. And I think that was like a drive and an inspiration to go back because, you know, they say iron sharpens iron, right? And so looking at these amazing athletes just drove my ambition more to want to make it back there.
Which you did. As a junior, you returned to the state meet. How was it different the second time around?
I think the second time around, the expectations were a bit higher for myself because I was like, I'm not the newbie. I've done this before.
Just getting there wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough. The competition was still just as stiff, though, and still just as impressive. But I think it hurt a little more when I didn't get on the podium my junior year because the expectations I set for myself were pretty high, and with Coach Jones too, right? You know, I've always had him in my corner.
Yeah.
You know, there was like one coach you could have standing over like behind the rope, and you know, he was huge. Just he's the man. Yeah. You know, so I would always tease him too that at all these track meets, it would be Coach Jones and I'd be warming up. He'd always strategically be like, you know, skip a couple heights. We're going to have you come in at like 5'4", because that's an easy height for you. And he would say, okay, watch this girl. This girl, if she took 2 steps back, she'd make it. And then he'd say, like, okay, this girl, she would just accelerate more. And I would say, you know what separates me from these athletes is not my talent, it's you. Like, I'm like, you're why I'm beating these people because this is what you're telling me. So I'm like, stop talking. Stop saying out loud what these other athletes should be doing. Like, because he was just an amazing coach.
Yeah. Amazing guy. Okay. As you mentioned, you came back to state as a senior, but now you're competing in multiple events. How is your preparation different now that you're focused on more than one event?
So thankfully that season, it was always high jump hurdles. So I was used to going back and forth between the two. It was old hat. So I think the prep for the state meet, though, I don't believe they actually overlapped. I don't think I had to leave high jump because high jump was always early and was always first. But then 100 hurdles were always the first event in the meet. But for some reason at state, I don't think that there was an overlap. So I was happy to have that. And with both events, the idea and the warm-up is kind of the same because you just want to be explosive. You want to be explosive out of the blocks and explosive into the air. So the one kind of warmed up for the other.
You were really good in soccer, and you were really good in track. What made you choose soccer over track in college?
Honestly, I just loved it. And I remember saying to my parents, I just can't imagine myself not playing soccer. It was my first passion, still is. I just loved it. I think I really liked being a part of a team. And with track, as even though it is a team sport, sometimes it can be isolating. But I also really liked with soccer. Honestly, I felt like it was less pressure because if you lose the ball, you can get it back. But in a track meet, if you miss the first hurdle, the race is over. If you are not perfect from start to finish in under 15 seconds, you're done.
Soccer's a little more forgiving.
Soccer's a little more forgiving, yeah.
Okay, Sarah, aside from the obvious difference in talent, how was it different competing in college than in high school?
Sure. So in college, you know, just like what everyone says, you're taking the best of every high school and throwing everyone together. But I think what's different about college is you're on your own. You're not living at home anymore, and you're really almost like reinventing yourself as a new person, or you have this opportunity to do so. And for me, stepping onto Bowling Green's campus, I was like, I belong here because I know what I'm doing. And I think that was only because I had soccer, and it was comfortable to walk onto campus and think I've got these 30 girls around me that are already my friends, that are already supporting me, got my back, they're guiding me. You know, you've got just this built-in loyalty when you step onto campus as a brand new student. And to me, that was really important. And I think when you're in high school, you have already grown up with these people. You know, Fairmont's a decent sized school, and so you are always meeting new people. You've grown up with them, but doing 3 different sports, I was friends with 3 different groups of people, but this was like one group of 30 girls over 4 years where you just felt like a sense of belonging. That was really, I was really grateful for that.
Well, you picked a good school.
Sure
That's
did.
where I went.
I know, it's a good one.
Okay, you and your husband have 2 young daughters. When they get a little older, what would you like Emma and Charlotte to know about their mom as a high school athlete?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Tough question.
Yes, I think I would want them to know that it's not necessarily about natural ability. It's about, again, hard work and grit. That it's a cheesy saying, but it's something I always tell myself, and that's, you know, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And
I like that.
yeah, and that is more important. You know, it's more important to be the player that's working hard than it is to be the best player. And that's, you know, again, I never won state, but I made it there 3 years. And that, again,
a lot of people were sitting at home that didn't make it there.
Right. Yeah. So I think I would just want them to know that I did these sports, again, just kind of how we started, because I loved them, because they made me happy, and I was successful because I worked hard.
That's a great thing to have them know. Now that you're a Hall of Famer, Sarah, what advice do you have for young athletes coming up through Fairmont now?
Play as many sports as you can. Do not specialize. You know, I think it's, you know, I obviously ended up playing just soccer in college, but I think I had the opportunity to play soccer in college because I did so many other sports. You know, with your first question of, you know, used to be that college coaches wanted to see an athlete. And I still think that's true. You know, you don't want to be just doing the same sport 12 months a year. You're going to wear yourself out. You know, it's really probably not even healthy for your body to overstrain those muscles. You know, I remember there was a time when Coach Jones and I were in the Barnes building because Pat Miller set up a high jump because we were trying to get me to state for high jump. And one day, Pat Miller walks in with a basketball. He goes, here, shoot layups. And it was like, because the way I shot layups for basketball was very similar to the form I used for high jump. And so my successes in my sports are because they would sometimes complement each other.
You were a good basketball player, too.
I was devastated to give that up.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. But, so that would be my advice, is have the difficult conversations with coaches and say, this is what's in my best interest, is to play multiple sports and do it.
Sometimes you got to wonder, is the coach who wants you to specialize on their sport, are they doing that for you, or are they doing that for them?
Right, I agree.
So. Well, Sara, I've known you most of your life. I've known you all your life.
You have, yeah.
You're part of one of the truly great families in Kettering, without question. Your parents are wonderful people. Your siblings are all great kids, and we're all good athletes. It makes me really happy to see you get this honor. And you had an amazing career at Fairmont, and for you to get recognized for that is the way it's supposed to be.
Thank you.
Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks.